You don't get what you want. You get what you earn. You get what you become. And until that truth burns through your comfort and convenience, you will keep circling the same mountains, hoping the world changes while you stay the same. You see, life doesn't hand you upgrades for wishing harder. It hands you nothing. It simply waits. And while it waits, it watches. It watches who will rise. It watches who will repeat. It watches who will change. And who will make excuses in the name of hope. But here's the harsh truth: hope is not a strategy. And wishing? Wishing is a lazy substitute for discipline. People wish for wealth. They wish for confidence. They wish for success. But they forget, you don't get wealthy, you become wealthy. You don't get strong, you become strong. And strength doesn't come from life being easier. It comes from you becoming harder to break. There was once a man who spent his life complaining about the weight of his burdens. Every morning, he'd rise and look to the sky and ask, "Why me? Why is this so hard? Why does everything seem easier for others?" He asked that question for years. Until one morning, an old farmer passed him on a narrow road and said, "You keep asking why it's hard. But the better question is, what kind of person do you need to become, so this weight no longer crushes you?" It stunned him. He had never considered that life wasn't going to change for him. That maybe, just maybe, life had already done its part by offering him the mountain. We live in a time where most people spend their energy avoiding discomfort, dodging discipline, evading effort, and then they wonder why they're still stuck. But let me give it to you straight. Growth doesn't live on the path of least resistance. It's hiding in the challenge. It's born in the fire. And you only find it when you stop running from the hard things. You say you want more freedom, more income, more purpose, more peace. But wanting is cheap. Anyone can want. The world doesn't respond to want. It responds to work. It responds to who you become while nobody is watching. It responds to the invisible hours. To the grind that doesn't make the highlight reel. To the decisions you make when it's inconvenient. Because success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. That's not a slogan. That's philosophy. That's reality. Your future is watching you right now. It's in the room with you. Every decision you make, it's taking notes. That snooze button? It saw that. That corner you cut? It saw that too. That promise you made and broke? It remembers. And that same future is built, brick by brick, out of the habits you keep, the thoughts you believe, and the standards you refuse to lower. Jim Rohn said, "Don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations are high, the demands are strong, and the challenge is real." But today, we don't raise our standards, we lower them. We don't demand more from ourselves, we expect less from life. We don't build our strength, we blame the storm. And in doing so, we trade potential for comfort. Let me ask you something. What if life was never supposed to be easier? What if the hard things were the very path to the better you? What if every failure, every rejection, every betrayal, every lonely morning and restless night was life's invitation for you to become? What if adversity wasn't punishment, but preparation? Think about the tree whose roots grow deeper when the winds rage. Think about the diamond that's formed under pressure. Think about the sword that's forged in flame. The elements that test you are the same ones that shape you. But only if you stay in the fire long enough to be transformed. We live in a microwave world, fast food, fast likes, fast validation. But personal development? That's a crockpot. It's slow. It's boring. It's doing the same reps when nobody claps. It's rewriting the same goals when no one's impressed. It's showing up again and again, and again, until one day, you look in the mirror and you don't recognize yourself. Not because you're someone new, but because you finally became who you were supposed to be all along. And here's something they don't teach you in school. The most dangerous thing you can do is succeed at the wrong thing. To climb the wrong ladder. To chase applause over alignment. To win the game and lose your soul. So before you pursue success, ask yourself, what kind of person am I becoming in the process? Because it's not about having more, it's about becoming more. More intentional. More disciplined. More grateful. More aligned with values that don't shake when the world does. You want a better life? Don't wish for easier circumstances. Raise your standards. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect timing. Become the kind of person that gets what they want by earning it. By doing the work. By facing the discomfort. By embracing the grind. By taking full, radical responsibility. Because once you do that, you are no longer at the mercy of your environment. You become the environment. You become the one who builds, who shapes, who leads. And life? Life no longer happens to you, it happens through you. They'll try to convince you the system is broken. That success is a matter of luck. That the odds are stacked, the game is rigged, and the world owes you more. But the truth? The world owes you nothing. Not an opportunity. Not a break. Not even understanding. And yet, that's the good news. Because if the world owes you nothing, then you owe yourself everything. And that is a far more powerful position to live from. You don't control the weather. You don't control the economy. You don't control other people's actions or the timing of every outcome. But you control your philosophy. You control your preparation. You control your response. And in a world obsessed with control, that's the only kind that actually matters. There's a quiet power in taking ownership. It's not loud. It's not flashy. But it is unshakable. When you stop blaming, you start building. When you stop waiting, you start working. When you stop wishing, you start becoming. Responsibility is not a burden, it's liberation. Because the moment you realize that no one is coming to save you is the same moment you become capable of saving yourself. And when you do that, when you take full authorship of your story, everything changes. Jim Rohn used to say, if you will change, everything will change for you. He didn't say if the government changes. He didn't say if your boss changes. He didn't even say if your spouse, your friends, or your circumstances change. He said, if you change. Because change is an inside-out job. It starts with your thoughts, reshaping your words, rewriting your habits, reconstructing your identity. And that identity? That's the thermostat of your life. You will never rise above the belief you carry about who you are. If you see yourself as weak, you'll avoid challenge. If you see yourself as a victim, you'll blame the world. If you see yourself as average, you'll aim small and settle early. But if you see yourself as capable, as someone who can learn, adapt, improve, then obstacles become puzzles, not prisons. Setbacks become setups. And failure becomes feedback, not identity. Let's get this clear. The pain of discipline is temporary. But the pain of regret? That one lasts a lifetime. Regret is the quiet consequence of abandoned potential. It's the echo of choices you didn't make. The mornings you slept through. The risks you didn't take. The promises you whispered to yourself but never kept. And one day, you will look back. We all do. You'll look back and ask, did I become who I could have been? Not who your parents wanted. Not who society praised. But who you knew, deep in your gut, you were meant to be. And if the answer is no, It won't be because you weren't smart enough, or lucky enough, or talented enough. It'll be because you waited for life to get easier instead of getting stronger. Here's the paradox. The more responsibility you take, the more freedom you create. Sounds backward, doesn't it? But think about it. If you're not responsible, you're always waiting. Waiting for someone to fix it. Waiting for circumstances to align. Waiting for a better economy, a better boss, a better body, a better year. But when you take full ownership, you don't wait, you work. You plan. You act. You become. And in doing so, you free yourself. Not just from your past, but from the prison of passivity. Because passivity is the silent killer of dreams. Let's talk about habits. Not the habits you say you have. The ones you actually live. Because your life is perfectly designed for the results you're getting. If you're not getting the outcomes you want, it's not your goals that need fixing, it's your systems. The gym membership doesn't matter if you don't show up. The book on your shelf doesn't matter if you never open it. The planner in your bag doesn't matter if you keep ignoring it. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes real power when it's applied, tested, lived. Discipline is not about restriction, it's about direction. It's not a punishment, it's a pathway. And every time you choose what's right over what's easy, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. Small wins. Repeated daily. That's the formula. There's an ancient saying. The same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. It's not about the circumstances, it's about what you're made of. So what are you made of? Do you break when it gets hard? Do you bend under pressure? Or do you rise, adapt, and evolve? Because life will test you. Not once. Not twice. But constantly. And each test is a chance to reveal, not what you have, but who you are. And who you are is not fixed. Not permanent. Not written in stone. It is sculpted. Daily. By thought, by decision, by action, by commitment. You don't need to move mountains today. But you do need to move you. One decision. One standard. One habit at a time. You build strength like you build anything, repetition and resolve. There's no secret. There's no shortcut. Just choices. Daily. Over and over again. Until the version of you that used to doubt, delay, and distract is replaced by someone who shows up. No matter what. Because greatness is not born. It's built. And you are the builder. People talk a lot about goals. Dream boards. Vision statements. Resolutions. But goals are only the starting line. They mean nothing without the standards to back them up. You say you want to be successful, great. What price are you willing to pay in discipline, focus, and sacrifice? You say you want to be healthy, excellent. Are your daily choices in alignment with that declaration? You say you want freedom, wonderful. But have you mastered yourself first? Because freedom without self-mastery is chaos. It's the illusion of liberty with the reality of drifting. And that's what most people do, they drift. They float through the days, letting the winds of distraction, emotion, and external pressure steer their lives. But drifting never leads to destiny. It only leads to regret. You were not designed to drift. You were made to steer. To chart a course. To pick a destination and fight for it with everything in you. Jim said, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because here's the truth. Your level of success will never exceed your level of personal growth. Not for long. You can hustle your way to temporary success. You can fake your way into rooms. But if your character, your mindset, your habits, and your discipline don't match the size of your dreams, you'll self-sabotage. Every time. So the real work is you. Not the economy. Not your competitors. Not some marketing hack or secret strategy. You are the strategy. When you grow, everything grows. Your income. Your influence. Your relationships. Your ability to respond to life with wisdom instead of emotion. So start there. And never stop. Let's talk about philosophy. Your personal philosophy is your operating system. It's the lens through which you interpret the world. The filter that defines your choices. The compass that guides your future. And if you want to build a different future, you need to examine your philosophy. What do you believe about time? About effort? About failure? About yourself? Because if your beliefs are outdated, limited, or borrowed from the wrong people, your results will reflect that. You don't have to believe what they believed. You don't have to repeat the story your past handed you. You don't have to inherit the limitations of those who quit before they saw what was possible. You can choose a new philosophy. One that serves you, strengthens you, elevates you. And when you do, when you align your beliefs with your future instead of your fears, you'll move through life with clarity, with conviction, because you won't just be reacting to the world. You'll be building one. You need to be intentional with your time. It is the most precious non-renewable resource you have. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose energy and recover. But every minute spent in distraction, indecision, laziness, bitterness, is a minute you never get back. And when it's all over, when your days are behind you, it won't be the comforts you remember. It will be the contribution, the courage, the moments you chose growth over comfort, the days you pushed through resistance, the nights you didn't quit. That's what will echo. So don't waste your life numbing your discomfort. Use it. Let it remind you, you were made for more. Now let's talk about adversity. Because you will face it. Life doesn't exempt the ambitious. In fact, it often tests them more. Why? Because to be worthy of big rewards, you must first prove you can handle big resistance. Adversity is the proving ground. The fire that reveals your foundation. Not to break you, but to show you what needs reinforcement. Don't curse the struggle. Learn from it. Grow from it. Become through it. There's something powerful about a person who's been through storms and still walks tall. Not because the storm was easy, but because they refused to break. That's who you're becoming. Not a person who avoids difficulty, but a person who uses it. A person who turns pressure into power, pain into purpose, struggle into strength. And yes, it will take time. Real transformation always does. But don't mistake time for delay. Growth takes as long as it takes. So be patient with the process, but relentless with the effort. Show up every day, especially on the days when you don't feel like it. Because those days are the ones that count the most. Discipline, character, commitment, those are forged in discomfort. When it's hard. When it's inconvenient. When no one's watching. That's when winners are made. You think champions are built in arenas? No. They're built in lonely gyms. In quiet mornings. In late nights. And the choices no one sees until the results everyone admires show up. So here's the final truth. Don't wish it were easier, build the strength. Don't pray for the path to be smooth, pray for the shoulders to carry the weight. Because you can handle more than you think. You can endure more than you've seen. You can become more than they ever imagined. But it starts with a choice. Right here. Right now. Decide. Decide that excuses are over. That blame is done. That your potential matters more than your past. That you are not a victim of circumstance, you are a creator of outcomes. Let today be the line in the sand, where you stop drifting and start building. Build the habits. Build the mindset. Build the strength. And never forget, the world doesn't get better when it gets easier. It gets better when you do.